Hi, my name's Pete Troila with Devex. Thank you for joining this Google Hangout. I'm here with a very special guest, Emily Braucher. Emily's the founder and lead facilitator of Refresh Intercultural Communication. Thanks for joining us, Emily.
Thanks so much for having me.
Emily, you recently wrote a piece on Devex about trust and this important element in effective cross-cultural collaboration and communication. In
Yeah.
your experience as a professional communication facilitator, can you really
Mhm.
try to explain why trust is so important in international development project teams?
Yeah. So as we try to collaborate across cultures and we go into other countries and try to co-create some sort of project, work on something together, we're really working with so many different variables. You have, the people who have money, the people who are receiving help, you have different power dynamics, you have different cultural influences, you perhaps have different motivations. All these different things are kind of whirling around in the project soup, if you will. And so in order to move a relationship forward and be able to collaborate and talk about this is what I'm needing, this is what I'm seeing the needs are, this is, what I think the next step should be. There has to be a foundation of trust because in any sort of initiative, there's going to be elements of risk there as well as elements of needing other people. And so really in order for that relationship to move ahead, that trust needs to be there. There needs to be some sort of connection between the people saying, yes, I can depend on you, you're reliable, you have my back, and if I mess up, I know you're going to have my back. And without that, you get a lot of people withholding information, lots of judgments flying around. I mean, judgments are going to be there anyway, but if you have that foundation of trust, it changes a lot.
And to build that foundation, you discuss a little bit about the different types of people. Obviously, we all know that there are different types of people and different approaches to working within teams. But you sort of come to some generalizations that, through your experience, prove accurate. Particularly this idea of a foundation type and a tool type. Can you explain these
Yes.
two different types of professionals a little bit?
Sure. So these are two sort of massive bins of people that I often see in different cultures, and there's a lot of fluidity and you can move between the types, but there's something to be said for understanding two different fundamentally different approaches to trust. So one approach to trust, I'm a US American, and so I'm more of a tool type, what I call a tool type, which is I come into a place, I want to be very efficient with my time, I want to get things done, and it's the results of getting things done that makes me think that I can trust my team. Like it's, oh, we're getting things done, they're great results, I see what different people are bringing, now we can move forward into a bigger initiative, and there was an efficiency there. And so that's one type. And that also goes with a sort of direct communication, very efficient and concise and sometimes blunt communication style. And another type of approach to trust is one that takes more time. It's a little bit more nuanced, and I call that a foundation type. So that type of person likes to kind of put their toe in the water and test out, what is this person's character? And let's take time and get to know each other, get to know each other's backgrounds, talk casually, sit down, and it's kind of the 3 cups of tea approach. And it's just through that kind of calmer, exploring the foundations where might we have overlap not at all related to this project. Perhaps both of our kids play soccer, perhaps we both are interested in the violins, anything. And that building that foundation is essential first before moving on to the project. Then the project will go smoothly once we eventually get there.
Absolutely. Yeah, so I can see how these, in different areas of the world, how maybe more different types are more prevalent in some versus others. Can you give maybe a specific illustration or example of how you overcame some of those type differences in a project,
Yeah.
maybe some training exercises, or at least some guidance that would help project managers navigate these differences in sort of personality types?
Sure. Um, so the first thing I would say, and I give a number of trainings both remotely and live with organizations on this, and the first thing we always do is become aware of our type and become aware of the predictable issues that are coming up when you're going to encounter another type. So when you walk into a country and you're more of a tool type and you want to jump in and get things done, and you find that the people that you're working with are not also just eager to jump in and get things done, and all of a sudden they're kind of retracting and recoiling, and maybe you're not getting you're getting different answers at different times of the day, and it's kind of confusing, and you start doubting whether you can trust them. That's when that self-awareness needs to come in, that I don't know if I can trust them. How am I approaching trust? Is this maybe a cultural thing that's going on? And do I need to kind of switch my approach? So the most important foundational piece of the trainings I advocate for or do myself would start with self-awareness, and then it would move into what are the cues that are coming up for you that are tuning you into maybe one of these predictable issues that are coming up, and then take a step back and just try a totally new way of doing things. In my article, I mentioned, a group that was having very formal meetings, and the trust was not there. Both sides of, both country nationals were kind of ragging on the other folks behind their backs, and there just was kind of an atmosphere of, I don't really like to work with these other folks. And then simply by switching to a more informal meeting and adding in lunch, that was that moment of taking a step back and trying a new approach. And simply by doing that, it helped bring on board this other style of communicating and another style of working with time, which is really what we're trying to do. So I would say the steps are awareness, and then understanding when predictable issues are coming up, take a step back, come in from another angle, and just experiment. There is no clear cut, this is the right way to do it answer. It's just a matter of saying, if I do it the same way all the time and I keep getting the results I don't want, something in that equation has to change. So which part of it is it? And just get creative from there. This is very creative work to work efficiently and effectively across cultures.
That's great advice for any international development project manager. Emily, thank you very much for joining us for this Devex Hangout, and we look forward to hearing from you in the future.
Thanks so much.